After his career as an astronaut, Edgar Mitchell set up the Noetic Sciences Institute in California to continue his own deep fascination in the study of human consciousness. Marilyn Schlitz is Director of Research.
People experience multiple ways of knowing about the nature of reality, from mystical states to meditative states to intuition and creativity. How is it that these experiences can be reconciled with a science that's only interested in the physical dimensions? So part of our ambition is to broaden the definition of what is science and to broaden the definition of what is possible as scientific inquiry. So rather than saying that we're going to restrict our scope only to those dimensions of experience that we can measure physically, what about really broadening the definition in such a way that we can look at things like love and emotion and belief and the kinds of things that really excite us and make us feel human? How can we study those things using scientific or rigorous methodologies?
One of the most repeated and compelling experiments in thought transference is known as the Ganzfeld test, as Marilyn Schlitz explains.
Once the red light shines, within a couple minutes you'll start to see black, and then you'll begin to see imagery. And the goal here is for you to just free associate, describe whatever comes to your mind, knowing that Ira's in the next room and that he is actually watching a picture on a monitor. It could be a picture of anything. And what I want you to do is just keep a gentle reminder in the back of your head that you want to describe the picture, and just feel comfortable and trust that the technique will work. Okay?
Okay.
Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the light on, and good luck.
Thank you.
The experimenter in the separated room tries to transfer a randomly selected image to the subject in the other room.
There's a well. Looks like a stone well. A sense of coolness. Like it's in the middle of a forest.
What I'm going to ask you to do now is to review the correct picture and 3 decoys. So we're going to see on the monitor here 4 pictures, okay? One is the correct one, and I'm going to ask you to decide, after seeing all of them, which most closely resembles your impressions, okay? Do you see any similarities between this image and your impressions?
The only thing that would be a little bit similar would be you have the feeling of coolness because it's night, but it doesn't resemble the landscape at all of what I saw.
Okay. Any associations that you had with that one?
The only thing that would be similar is the different, the play of light. Initially, when I saw the different colors, there was a sense of the play of light, but other than that, not too much, because that's a real mountain scene with a dark sky, and I didn't have any imagery like that.
Let's go to the next one then. What kind of associations do you have to this one?
Well, that has some similarity in that it has that damp, cool feel. I mean, it looks like it's at the bottom of a forest, and I had that feeling. And the other thing that might be similar is that I think I described it as wells, but they were round, and I could feel and see the hole in them, so that has some similarity.
These experiments seem to show that one person can affect the feelings or thoughts of another at a distance.
The most exciting work being done today, in my opinion, is the work in distant healing, where a healer, whether a spiritual healer or an energy healer, will outflow her healing intention for the purpose of helping a sick person at a distant location. And the evidence is now very strong from published papers that a healer is able to systematically and statistically improve the health of a distant person.
The computer. So for the time being, nobody's expressed any interest in using it.
No, and that's on hold.
Elizabeth Targ, Russell Targ's daughter, is in charge of a major study in distant healing involving AIDS patients.
We enroll patients who all have very similar levels of illness and then randomly assign them, some to receive distant healing and others not. But the patients do not know whether or not they're actually receiving the healing.
Will I be meeting the healers who will be working with me, or will I have any contact with them? How will that happen?
In general, what we're doing actually is we aren't having a lot of contact with you.
Okay.
We found among the healers that about half of them describe what they would be doing, what they're doing as prayer, but half of them do not. Another half of them sit and imagine the patient well, or imagine that they're sending healing energy, or some of them might develop a sense of a communication with spirits that they then entreat to help the patient. Some of the healers work with traditional Indian systems of healing, the chakra systems and energetic systems. Other ones work with Native American approaches, a more shamanic approach that involves a sense of interaction within the spirit world, or sometimes also in that case within the animal world. The results of the study were quite striking. What we found is that in the group that received the distant healing, even though they did not know whether or not they were going to receive distant healing, they showed significantly fewer AIDS-defining illnesses developed over the study period. That was, in fact, they developed 6 times fewer new AIDS-defining illnesses in the 6 months that we followed them.
Go. Perfect.
An organization like the National Institutes of Health in America are becoming increasingly interested in supporting research in distant healing, because the work of many laboratories have shown that the people who receive prayers in these studies have better outcomes, fewer trips to the doctors, fewer opportunistic illnesses, and these data from clinical studies are being published in the best medical journals, and the Institutes of Health see that distant healing is a way to save money. The psychic functioning and prayer is cost-effective, and what's clear is that if you're sick and somebody wants to pray for you, you should accept those prayers even if you don't believe in prayer, because it works anyway.